Have you ever really stopped to think about what prophecy is? I mean, we usually picture it as some kind of magic, right? A mysterious, almost spooky glimpse into what's coming. But what if I told you it isn't magic at all? What if it's a system? A kind of spiritual technology with its own rules, different levels of resolution, and yeah, even hardware limitations. Today we are going deep into the Zohar to basically deconstruct the cosmic engineering behind prophetic vision. And this isn't about telling the future. It's about understanding the very architecture of how the divine communicates.
To really get this, we kind of have to step into a vision ourselves. So picture this. The great scholar Rabbi Chia. He's deep in a mystical state. He's being shown the heavenly academies, but then a voice commands him, "Lower your eyes, do not raise your head." So he does. He obeys. And as his physical sight dims, a totally different kind of perception wakes up. He sees a light, but it's distant. It's shimmering, like a signal from across a massive cosmic ocean. And then the voice comes again, talking about hidden, concealed supernals, these lofty secret beings with open eyes. It's basically a command to see beyond seeing, to perceive a reality that's humming just beneath the surface of our own. This whole vision, it's our doorway in. It's inviting us into this world of layered light and coded messages, where seeing isn't just about looking, it's about perceiving.
Okay, so that experience of Rabbi Kia, right, with the shifting light and the cryptic commands, it's absolutely beautiful, it's cinematic. But the Zohar is telling us, hey, look past the poetry, look at the plumbing. It's laying out a blueprint for us. It's asking a really fundamental question. If there's a divine reality that's constantly broadcasting, how do we tune in? And why do some people get this crystal clear 4K picture, while others just get static or maybe a weird coded message that needs to be deciphered? Well, the answer is all in the mechanics of perception itself. So, let's nail down the core idea for this entire explainer. Think of divine consciousness as this constant, high-fidelity data stream. It's always on, always broadcasting information about the deep structure of reality. A prophet, then, isn't some magician pulling rabbits out of a hat. No, a prophet is a receiver, a highly specialized piece of biological and spiritual hardware that's designed to tap into this stream. And here's the kicker. The quality of their hardware, their intellect, their emotional purity, their spiritual discipline, that determines the download speed. The crucial point here is that the clarity, the resolution, the usefulness of the information, it all depends on the quality and calibration of the person receiving it.
All right, let's start with level 1, the first and most fundamental level of this kind of perception. We're going to call it the distance signal. This is your entry-level connection. The most common way a little glimpse of this deeper reality breaks through. Seriously, think about trying to tune into a radio station from a few states away. You can just barely hear the music. You know something's there, but it's faint and it's full of static. This is the realm of intuition, of those gut feelings, that vague sense that there are bigger patterns moving behind the scenes.
The Zohar describes this first mode with such beautiful simplicity. In Aramaic, it's called shizu merachik, which just means a vision from a distance. And the text says, a vision seen by the eye from a distance, and the eye cannot grasp it with clarity because it is distant. It's so direct. The perception proves that something is there, but all the details, they're completely fuzzy. It's a truth that you're perceiving across a huge expanse, and that distance itself just naturally degrades the signal.
So let's break this down with our analogies. In cosmic engineering terms, this is a low bandwidth signal. The connection is super weak, there's a ton of packet loss, you're getting a really compressed, low-res image. You can see the shape of the truth, but none of the texture, none of the detail. And for you gamers out there, this is like unlocking the world map for the very first time. You see the whole layout of the level, where the forests are, the mountains, the oceans, but you can't see the individual trees or where the bad guys are hiding or any of the treasure. It's a strategic, big-picture view, but it's fundamentally blurry.
Okay, let's level up. Onto the second mode of perception. Now, this one is more complex, it's more intimate, but in some ways, it's even more of a challenge. We're calling this one the encrypted packet. The signal is definitely stronger now. The data is coming through much more clearly, but it's not in a language you can just understand right away. It's obscured. It's coded. It's wrapped in layers of symbols and allegory that you have to actively engage with to unlock.
The Zohar calls this mode kizu biestimu, which literally means a concealed or closed-off vision. And listen to what it says. A vision of this eye and its concealment. This mode requires interpretation to establish what the eye grasped. The absolute keyword there is interpretation. The data has arrived, but it's not information yet. The prophet's job isn't just to see, their job is to solve. They have to actually decrypt the message to figure out what the vision is truly about. And this just perfectly illustrates that next step in our framework. Cosmically, we're talking about an encrypted data packet. It's exactly like getting a password-protected zip file. You know the good stuff is inside, and it's way richer than that distant signal, but it's locked. You need the right password, which is the key of interpretation, to extract the meaning. In our video game, this is your level 2 vision. You find a scrambled clue. It could be a riddle, a weird sequence of symbols, or a prophetic dream packed with bizarre imagery. Think of Joseph's dreams or Daniel's. The prophet needs a super refined intellect to see the patterns and a pure heart so they don't distort the message. Those two things together, that's the decryption key.
And now we get to the third and highest mode of vision available to the prophets. And this is a total paradigm shift. We're not dealing with faint signals or coded messages anymore. This is the direct feed. The data isn't just received, it's rendered internally in real time with perfect clarity. It's a vision that unfolds not from a distance, but from inside the very consciousness of the prophet.
Man, the Zohar's language for this mode is just breathtaking. It calls it a Zohar aspilaria, the vision of the radiant lens or mirror. Just listen to this description. The radiance of a lens in which nothing is seen except through the rolling of the eye, and in this rolling, the lens is revealed. This is so profound. The vision isn't something out there that you just look at. It's a dynamic internal landscape. The prophet has to actively use their inner sight, that rolling of the eye, to bring the vision into focus. And when they do, the information isn't just seen, it's experienced with absolute, undeniable clarity.
So, the key thing to get here is that we've moved way beyond simple reception. In cosmic engineering terms, the prophet has basically become a dynamic rendering engine. The divine data stream isn't just being downloaded, it's being processed and displayed in stunning high fidelity right on the screen of the mind. And in our video game, this is the ultimate upgrade, level 3 vision, the full cutscene. You literally put the controller down. You're not figuring out clues anymore. The story, the meaning, the full emotional weight of the message, it all just plays out right in front of you with perfect unmediated clarity. So let's just quickly recap what we've got. We have 3 totally distinct tiers of prophetic bandwidth. First, the distant vision, Chizimirackic. That's our low-clarity, big-picture overview. Second, the encrypted vision, Chizubistimu, a medium-clarity message that needs you to actively interpret it. And finally, the direct feed, Zohar Aspaklaria. That's the high-clarity, internally rendered experience. Each level is a deeper, more refined connection to that divine data stream. But it turns out there's another level, a level beyond all of this.
So everything we've just described, those are the 3 modes available to all the prophets. It's the spectrum of clarity that guys like Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel were working with. But the tradition is absolutely emphatic that beyond these 3, there is a 4th state of perception, a state so direct it's in a category all by itself. This is not just another upgrade. Reserved for only one person in history, this is God mode, the unique channel of Moses. The key to getting this massive distinction is in the Zohar terminology. It explains that all the other prophets, even when they hit that highest level, were seeing through an asplaklaria de lo nehara, a non-luminous lens. So think of it like a cloudy mirror or a piece of smoked glass. The image is there, sure, but it's filtered, it's indirect, and it still needs some processing. But Moses and only Moses perceived through an asplaklaria de nehara, a luminous lens. And this wasn't a mirror at all. It was a perfectly clear, completely transparent window. The communication was direct, unmediated, what the text calls face-to-face.
The text makes this distinction totally absolute. It says, Moses gazed into the luminous lands, while the other prophets only gazed into the non-luminous lands. You see? This isn't a difference of degree, it's a difference in kind. For all the other prophets, the divine data was kind of like a pixelated video call with a bad connection. For Moses, it was like being in the same room. No compression, no latency, no filter. Just a direct, pure flow of consciousness.
And that is the central takeaway. This direct channel, this God mode protocol, was a one-of-a-kind hardware and software configuration reserved for Moses alone. So why him? Well, the text suggests it's because his entire being was so completely refined, so perfectly aligned with the divine will, that there was no self left to cloud the lens. You see? There was nothing there to filter or distort or interpret the signal. The data stream could just flow right through him without any degradation whatsoever. One prophet, one luminous lens.
Okay, so we've explored the really deep cosmic engineering of prophecy, but this isn't just some ancient abstract theory. We've been using this video game analogy, right? So let's just lean into it.
Think of this whole system as a kind of guide to leveling up your own perceptual abilities in the game of life. How do you actually go about leveling up your own vision?
Well, it's a three-step process. Level 1 is to unlock the map view. That just means taking the time to see the big picture, to start grasping the distant signals and the overarching patterns in your life and in the world. Step 2 is learning how to decode the encrypted clues. This is all about paying attention to synchronicity, to your dreams, to the symbolic language of your own experiences, and figuring out how to interpret them. And step 3, the highest level, is striving to render the full cutscene. Those rare, incredible moments of flow, of insight, of pure clarity, where you just know something with your whole being, no filter, no doubt.
So why does this ancient system matter right now? I mean, really? It's because it's a surprisingly practical guide for navigating our crazy modern world. We are just constantly being bombarded with data, with signals, with noise. Understanding this system can help us start to calibrate our own perception and really improve the quality of the information we decide to let in.
And that's really the question, isn't it? The Zohar's model of prophecy is basically a model of signal clarity. In a world that is just saturated with misinformation, with distraction, with digital static, how can we become better receivers? How do we learn to tell the difference between the faint, distant signal of truth and the loud, overwhelming noise of everything else?
Well, the mystical framework itself actually gives us the answer key. First, we have to filter the static. This is the work of mindfulness, of contemplation, practices that are designed to quiet the internal and external noise so we can even begin to hear that distant signal. Second, we have to refine the receiver. The hardware is us. Cultivating virtues like humility and intellectual honesty literally cleans our internal lens. Third, we need to seek the source. Instead of just relying on secondhand info, we can engage directly with primary texts and wisdom traditions. And finally, we have to interpret with care. And this just means admitting that our own biases, our emotions, our ego, they all create a non-luminous lens, a cloudy mirror. The whole goal is to be constantly cleaning that lens, to strive for that luminous clarity that lets us see things as they really are.
Ultimately, this whole system is really just an invitation. The Zohar quotes the prophet Isaiah to give us our final instruction. Raise your eyes on high and see who created these. And that's not a passive suggestion, it's an active command. Look up from the noise, calibrate your perception, see the patterns, interpret the symbols, strive for clarity. The divine data stream is always broadcasting. The real question is, are we tuning in?
Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.